Hey, welcome back. Have you ever really stopped to think about it? How a simple intention in your mind, a thought, turns into a physical action? Well, today we are diving deep into that incredible journey. It's this amazing cascade of electricity and chemistry that all happens at a speed that's just, well, it's mind-boggling. Let's trace this path from a simple thought all the way to an action. I mean, it seems so simple, doesn't it? You decide to move your arm and it moves. But the biology behind that is, and I'm not exaggerating here, a masterpiece of precision engineering. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow a single command from your nervous system all the way down the line to the muscle fiber that actually does all the heavy lifting. All right, so our journey starts with the signal itself. Let's take a look at how this command travels from your central nervous system out towards its final destination. So every single move you make starts as an electrical signal zipping down a specialized nerve cell called a motor neuron. You can think of it like a high-speed data cable running from your spinal cord right out to your muscles. But here's the thing. The electrical signal can't just jump directly over to the muscle. It ends at this highly specialized connection point. And believe me, this is where the real magic happens. That connection point, that meeting place between the nerve and the muscle, well, that's the star of our show today. It's a microscopic marvel of biological design, and it's called the neuromuscular junction. It's the whole reason the message gets delivered perfectly, every single time. Now, here's a really crucial detail. The nerve doesn't actually touch the muscle. Isn't that wild? There's this tiny, tiny gap between them, called a synapse, and the message somehow has to get across this gap to get from the nerve to the muscle. And on the other side of that gap, the muscle has its own special zone ready and waiting. This is the motor end plate. You can think of it as a dedicated landing pad, perfectly designed to receive the nerve's signal. It's not just any old patch of muscle, it's prime for communication. So let's take a quick tour of this junction's anatomy. You've got the nerve ending, the axon terminal. Then there's the gap, the synaptic cleft, which is unbelievably tiny, just 20 to 30 nanometers wide. But look at the muscle side. It isn't flat. It's got all these folds called subneural clefts. This is just a brilliant design feature that massively increases the surface area, creating way more space for the signal to be received. And fueling this whole operation, you've got mitochondria, the tiny energy factories, packed right where they're needed most. So we have an electrical signal right at the edge of a gap. Here's the problem. That electricity can't just jump across. So the message needs to be converted into a totally different form. It needs a chemical messenger to act as a bridge. This is what we call the chemical handshake. Okay, so here's how that chemical release actually happens. Step 1, the electrical impulse arrives at the nerve terminal. This arrival opens up these special gates just for calcium ions. Step 2, calcium floods into the terminal. This flood of calcium acts as the trigger for the main event. It tells these tiny little bubbles, or vesicles, which are packed with a chemical messenger called acetylcholine, to merge with the edge of the nerve and dump their contents into the gap. And it's a precise, rapid-fire process. Every single nerve impulse causes about 125 of these vesicles to release their chemical cargo. So what happens to this chemical messenger, this acetylcholine, or ACH for short? Well, it floats across that tiny gap and finds specialized receptors on the muscle side. You can think of these receptors like little locks, and it takes exactly 2 ACH molecules to act as the keys. When both of them bind, the lock changes shape, swinging open a channel and creating a gateway right into the muscle fiber. Okay, the gateway is now open. The chemical message has been delivered, so now let's see how that single action triggers a brand new electrical signal, this time inside the muscle, creating this spark of contraction. The effect is immediate, and it is massive. As soon as that channel opens, positively charged sodium ions, which are packed just outside the cell, flood in. And we are talking about up to 30,000 ions passing through just one of those channels in a single millisecond. It's this incredible, sudden rush of positive charge. This sudden flood of positive charge creates a little electrical spark right there on the muscle membrane. This is called the end plate potential. Now, if this spark is strong enough, and thanks to our body's amazing design, it almost always is, it ignites a brand new, full-blown electrical signal called an action potential. This new signal then spreads like wildfire across the entire surface of the muscle fiber, carrying the command to contract. So the command is now spreading across the muscle's surface. But that's not enough, right? A muscle is a three-dimensional thing. So how does that surface signal get deep inside the muscle to tell the inner machinery, Hey, it's time to contract. The muscle fiber has this really ingenious solution, a whole network of tiny tunnels called T-tubules. These tunnels actually dive deep into the muscle fiber from the surface. The electrical signal travels down these tunnels, kind of like a message being sent down a mine shaft. And deep inside, that signal reaches a specialized internal storage tank called the sarcoplasmic reticulum, which is just absolutely packed with calcium ions. So when the signal arrives, the sarcoplasmic reticulum opens its gates, releasing a tidal wave of calcium ions directly into the fluid surrounding the contractile fibers. I mean, the concentration of calcium inside that muscle just skyrockets by up to 500 times. It's a massive, instantaneous flood. And this is the final command. This flood of calcium is the ultimate go signal. It's the thing that unlocks the contractile proteins, allowing them to grab onto each other and pull, generating force. Without this calcium pulse, the muscles simply cannot contract. It's non-negotiable. It's an absolutely incredible process, right? But for you to make another movement just a split second later, the entire system has to reset instantly. So let's look at that reset mechanism, and let's also look at what happens when this finely tuned system breaks down. First things first, you have to stop the signal. And that's the job of an enzyme in that gap called acetylcholinesterase. It's the cleanup crew. It rapidly breaks down the acetylcholine just milliseconds after it's released. This is what ensures that each nerve impulse is a single, clean command, preventing any unwanted continuous muscle spasms. And at the exact same time, the muscle fiber is working hard, actively pumping all that calcium back into its storage tank, the sarcoplasmic reticulum. And the nerve terminal, it's recycling the components of ACH to make brand new vesicles. The whole system resets in a fraction of a second, ready for the very next command. Now, because this system is so precise, it can be manipulated or hacked. As you can see here, drugs like nicotine can actually mimic acetylcholine, causing spasms. Other substances can block the cleanup crew, leading to overstimulation. And then you have poisons like curare, which can block the receptors entirely, preventing the signal from ever being received and causing paralysis. And, this isn't just about drugs or poisons. In the autoimmune disease myasthenia gravis, which affects about 1 in 20,000 people, the body's own immune system attacks and destroys its acetylcholine receptors. The signal from the nerve to the muscle becomes too weak to reliably trigger contraction, and the result is just debilitating muscle weakness. What's really amazing is that our bodies have a built-in buffer for this whole system. Each nerve signal typically releases about 3 times more acetylcholine than is actually needed to trigger a muscle contraction. This is called a high safety factor. It makes the system incredibly robust, which is great, but as myasthenia gravis shows us, even this system is not invincible. So there you have it. From a simple thought to an electrical impulse, to a chemical handshake, and then a calcium flood, all to perform the simplest of movements. It's this invisible, microscopic dance happening millions of times a day inside your body. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible miracles are keeping you going right now? Thanks for exploring this with me.